My name is Shannon Willardson. I live in Boise, Idaho with my husband Chase and my 3 kiddos, Jack, Charlotte, and Ava. Jack is our first child. He's 8 years old. He is typically developing healthy. My daughters have a rare genetic disease called congenital disorder of glycosylation. There are over 150 different types of CDG, that's the acronym for it. They have one of the rarest types of CDG. It's called ALG11.
The ALG11 variant the girls have has only ever been diagnosed in 20 people worldwide. Ava and Charlie are 2 of them.
It causes global developmental delay. They have really low tone. They're nonverbal. They're non-ambulatory. They have seizures. So they get this nice big batch of meds every day.
There is so little known about ALG11 that there is no cure or even designated protocols for helping the girls.
We make all of their meds in the morning. They have 3 different seizure meds. They get medication for keeping their bowel movements regular. Ava takes medication for excessive drooling. That was a journey in and of itself, figuring out what the right cocktail of medication was to treat all of these symptoms. My husband and I, unbeknownst to us, are both carriers of CDG, of ALG11. It's genetic, so it is hereditary.
While all humans carry some genetic mutations, the likelihood of them both having this specific gene and then having children together is unbelievably rare.
So my husband and I just like to, we like to think we were meant to be, buddy. 1 in a billion. We were elated when we got pregnant with Charlotte. We call her Charlie.
Since they had a healthy son, they had no idea they had these genes when they got pregnant with Charlie.
I had a totally normal pregnancy. I literally remember thinking in the hospital after she was delivered, this kind of sigh of relief, like, whew, we did it, like another healthy baby. It wasn't until she was about 4 months old that the health issues started to present themselves. I had started noticing this very unusual bodily movement. It almost resembled a startle reflex. The doctors at the hospital felt like, oh yeah, it does. I think it is just a startle reflex. They were ready to just kind of send us away and dismiss it as this is all it is. And of course, you want to think that it's nothing serious, but I think, as parents, we also have those gut instincts about our kiddos. And I just knew, we need to look into this because it feels like there is something more. So we got admitted to the ER, and it became this very long road to diagnosis that consisted of just test after test after test, basically trying to find the needle in the haystack. So meeting with all these medical folks, PT and OT. We had to be connected with the gastrointestinal folks, the neurologist, and it was like we were suddenly thrust into this world of appointments and doctors and just medical everything.
Shannon had to quit her job and focus solely on Charlie's care and the search for answers.
So the burden that it put on our family from a financial, economical perspective was immense. Insurance was a nightmare. We were paying out of pocket like crazy for the things that they weren't willing to cover.
Finally, they got their diagnosis.
It just kind of felt like, your heart falls out of your stomach. You have no idea what this is. You just know that there's something going wrong with your precious baby.
But ALG11 is so rare, many of the doctors had not even heard of it, let alone knew how to help them.
So it was incredibly isolating because even people who work in the medical field and who you're kind of looking to for answers and guidance, they'd never heard of it. So now what do we do? Now who do we turn to? It was just a very lonely, scary place to be. Ava was born about 2.5 years after Charlie. When I took the pregnancy test and it was positive with Ava, it felt like there was no way that could be the case. How on earth did that happen? I was on birth control. We were preventing that. I felt extremely alarmed because I knew what that meant. I wouldn't trade her for anything. She's our perfect Ava bun. But at the time, that felt like, is this a joke? What is happening? Trying to wrap your mind around the idea of having not 1, but 2 special needs children was a lot.
Even now with Ava's diagnosis, the Willardsons still had very few answers.
Nobody could tell us anything. When we would ask, what are the challenges that our girls are going to face? Are they going to walk? Will they ever talk? Will they ever live independently? The answer over and over was just, I'm sorry, we don't really know. We were gaining information about the disease by just Googling, and that's the same thing that the medical folks that we were speaking with, that's what they were doing too. There's just something very disconcerting about that, your doctor who you're looking to for answers is also Googling the same thing that you are.
Still, with no cure or tested therapies, they had to keep fighting for answers.
Why isn't there a cure? Why aren't there therapies? Why isn't anyone paying attention to this?
And they had to do it by finding ways to do research that they would need to pay for themselves.
I swear, I'm calling in my InstaFam. We have set up a GoFundMe for this project. We've been asked to fundraise. We are trying to raise $30,000 over the next week for this project. It will 100% of it will go toward this drug repurposing pilot. We have been fortunate to meet individuals within the community of our rare disease who have made it their life's work to move things forward. But between clinical and the testing drugs in a lab and building the structure that would be required to actually test a drug and find a drug that could make a difference. I know it is not less than $100,000. And then clinical trials, FDA approval, go to market, literally $3 to $5 million. Just brick wall after brick wall after brick wall. And it feels like there's nobody out there who is helping us knock those walls down.
Through crowdfunding, Shannon's vibrant social media platforms, community involvement, and sheer will, the Willardsons are determined to find a cure and to educate the world on ultra-rare diseases.
I don't necessarily think of myself as an activist, but I want to be one because if I don't do it, who will? These are my little girls. They're my whole world, and they deserve to receive the kind of care that other people receive. If I had the opportunity to sit in front of congressmen, legislators, medical professionals, I would want them to know families who are affected by rare disease, we are real people, not just a number. Each rare disease may have a small number of folks affected, but collectively, there are millions in the rare disease community. And I want them to know that we're real people. We deserve to have hope. We need innovation pipelines for drug therapies. We need research universities who are dedicated to studying these rare diseases. We need funding. We need funding so badly. We need to feel like we're not shouting into an oblivion. We want them to hear us. We want them to hear us.
For more information on rare disease patient access policies and patient stories, please visit rareaccessactionproject.org.